With nearly 350,000 registered boats in our state, it's a safe bet that the waters will be very busy this holiday weekend.
No doubt about it. News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live at Lake Julian with some tips for making sure your time on the water is fun. Victoria, this is Safe Boating Week.
Yeah, it is. And you know, for folks who like to boat, you know, even a bad day of boating is still a good day. So when you're on the water, it's a lot of fun if you follow the rules. Now, I'm out here on the boats here with Master Officer Sean Martin with the North Carolina Wildlife Commission, and you all are in for a busy weekend. But you took a little time out to help us out this morning. What do we need to know before we even get our boats in the water when it comes to safety?
Yeah, this time of year, right before we get into the summer, the boating season, the boat's been stored all winter long, and we need to get ourselves in the mindset of what equipment needs to be on the boat as well as safe boating practices.
So where are we going here?
When you get out on your boat, make sure you got all your safety equipment. A Coast Guard approved personal flotation device for everyone on board. It'll also have a tag on the back of it, similar to this one, that says it's U.S. Coast Guard approved, and it'll tell what size person can be wearing it, whether it's a child,
so
an infant.
Kids get the right size for the kids.
That's right. It has to be the proper size and fit for that child. If not, they can fall out of it when they fall overboard, and it doesn't provide them that extra buoyancy that they need.
What about that?
Any boat over 16 feet long, this is called a throwable device. A lot of people call it a seat cushion.
Sure.
Because they sit on it. But a Coast Guard approved throwable device on any boat over 16 feet long. But it's good to have in any boat. So if somebody falls overboard, you can throw it to them and it gives them something to float on.
There are some things on the boat itself, actually on the boat, that need to be there too. What kind of markings and stuff?
Right. Your boat, similar to the license plate on your vehicle, has to have registration decals on both, registration numbers on both sides of the forward bow, as well as a registration decal on the right side forward of all the numbers.
And this is just the beginning of what you need to have in place if you're going to play it safe when you go out boating. And boating is a lot of fun in our state. A lot of people like to do it. Coming up this morning, we're going to take a look at some other things to keep in mind so you have a great time out on the water. Reporting live in Asheville, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
As Julie said, the weekend forecast is looking great, maybe for some time on the water.
But before you put in the boat, News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live at Lake Julian with some tips for playing it safe. And Vic, we actually have some room to improve when it comes to safe boating.
Boy, do we. I tell you, the numbers don't lie. We have about 350,000 registered boats here in our state, and the numbers when it comes to accidents are kind of staggering here. In fact, Master Officer Sean Martin with the North Carolina Wildlife Commission was telling me, where do we rank when it comes to boating accidents and so on?
In the nation, we rank number 7 as far as boating accidents that result in fatalities.
Wow.
And number 9 in the nation as far as boating accidents that result in serious injury.
That's not anywhere where we want to be. Out of
No.
50 states, I don't like that ranking.
Right, we would rather be closer to 50.
No, we have beautiful places in our state to go boating. I mean, we've got coastal boating, and here in the mountains, you've got beautiful lake and river water to get the boat in. What are some of the things we need to keep in mind when we are getting in the water on our boats?
Again, just making sure we've got all of our safety equipment on board, our life jackets, fire extinguisher, our lighting works, and make sure any child under 13 has their life jacket on at all times.
Now, if I have questions about what I need to do, or even just getting a good feel for how to manage a boat on the water, what can I do?
You can take a boating safety class, and it'll give you a good idea of the rules of the water, things to do, and what equipment is needed for the water.
Sounds like a plan. And coming up in our next half hour, we're going to take a look at what happens. Maybe if someone like Sean comes up to your boat and says, hey, I want to take a look, and if you don't have this on board, I'm telling you, the time on the lake is going to get a little more costly. We'll tell you just how much the citations can run you and the other kind of trouble you can get into if you don't follow the rules on the water. Reporting live in Asheville, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
So much. North Carolina may be home to some of the best waterways for boating, but it's also number 7 in the country when it comes to boating-related safety. News 13's Victoria Dunkel is live with tips for safe boating. Vic?
You know, those numbers are pretty startling, and there are ways that we can help make ourselves not so high in that less than stellar ranking. I'm here with Master Officer Sean Martin from the North Carolina Wildlife Commission. We've been talking all morning about the things we need to keep in mind. It is Safe Boating Week here in our state, but it needs to be safe boating all the time because the 7th for the most deaths related to boating.
Right. Yeah, it's before we go into the summer season, make sure you've got all your equipment there. take the time to learn the rules of the water, you know, how to handle the boat and what to do when another boat's approaching you.
And let's talk about what's going to happen when we see you out on the water this weekend and beyond with a water patrol. If someone, you know, one of the officers comes up to our boats, what can we expect?
Yeah, if an officer comes up to your boat, it's basically just doing a basic safety inspection. Take usually no more than 5 minutes, and then we'll have you back on your way. Just checking for your life jackets, your throwable device, fire extinguishers, and making sure your numbers are valid on the side of your boats, and just making sure everybody's having a good time on the water.
What if I haven't followed the rules? What's going to happen?
If you haven't followed the rules on the water, fines can range from $35 in court costs all the way up to $1,000 and possible jail time for something as serious as operating a motorboat under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Wow. And you know, I got to tell you, 1 out of every one of those boating related deaths is tied to someone operating the boat under an influence of alcohol and drugs. Play it safe and keep the time on the water a great time, because boating is a lot of fun. Coming up, some more tips, some more ways for you to make the most of a great boating season that's about to start. Reporting live in Asheville, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.
The weekend forecast is perfect for getting out and enjoying some time on the water.
Let's head back out live to Lake Julian, where News 13's Victoria Dunkel is finding out what we need for safe boating. But Vic, the numbers actually show we have some work to do when it comes to safety.
It's so true. With the rankings, when it comes to the number of boating-related deaths, we're number 7 in the country. When it comes to boating-related accidents that cause injury, number 9. 1 out of every 4 of those deadly boating accidents involves someone who was boating under the influence. Now, this is very serious numbers here, but there are some smart things you can do. In fact, Master Officer Sean Martin has been out here all morning with us from the North Carolina Wildlife Commission. We've been talking about how to get our boats ready and the safe rules we need to follow. So you've got a few things that we have to have on board with us, right?
Yeah, I do. And these are things you want to check before you get on the water. Make sure you have your throwable device on board, a life jacket for everyone that's Coast Guard approved that's on board, and if they're under 13, they have to be wearing it anytime the boat is underway.
Okay, I'm coming across here to head over this way. Anytime the boat's underway, under 13, they've got to have it. What else is on board
And
here?
also, you want to make sure you got a Coast Guard approved fire extinguisher on board, and make sure that it is charged.
Now, the other thing is before I even get on board and try to even hope to operate this boat, what do I need to do? Because there's some rules I need to follow as an operator of the boat, right?
Right. Some of the new laws that have come into play in the last couple of years is anyone under 26 years of age that operates a motorboat 10 horsepower or greater has to have a boater safety card.
And that means we go through the course that you offer, right?
Right. They have to go through our course or one of the approved NASBLA courses.
What about when we're out on his personal watercraft?
Jet ski or personal watercraft, no one under 14 can actually operate it, but anyone from 14 above that has a boater safety course can operate it.
Now, you're going to be out and about this weekend, and if you come on board and you find trouble for us, we're talking fines that could top up to $1,000, huh?
That's right, and that's why we would rather you check all of your equipment prior to getting on the water and make sure everything is on the boat and readily accessible. Because
this weekend they start the on the road and on the water enforcement, so you're not boating under the influence, that you're playing it safe, and you're having a great summer. That's what we want. And you can find out more about this when you go to Newslinks at WLOS.com. Reporting live in Asheville, Victoria Dunkel, News 13.